friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Chase, and today I will be reviewing AEW Dynamite from November 30th, which was headlined by the Elite versus the Death Triangle in the third match of their best of 7 series. I'll be giving you my hot takes on the matches and biggest angles of Dynamite, as well as telling you what I was the biggest fan of on the show. But before we get into that, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter, TikTok and Instagram, all at Stephanie M. Chase. Also, check out my OnlyFans and merch, which is linked below, and sign up to my new Patreon to support the channel and for exclusive content. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Now, before we get into Dynamite, a bit of relevant AEW news, as after being taken out by MJF on Dynamite, PW Insider has reported that William Regal is currently finalizing a new deal with WWE and is expected to return to the promotion in the new year in a backstage role. So, what did you think of Regal's tenure in AEW? Let me know in the comments below. Now, on to this week's Dynamite, and we opened with a promo from Jon Moxley, who proclaimed he was still on top of the AEW food chain, with nobody having the balls to step up to him. Then we got the return of Hangman Pidge. Yes! And we last saw Hangman Pidge suffering a concussion during a match with Moxley in October. These two ended up having a wild brawl with referees and security, who were all very blonde, having to run in and separate them. And I thought this was a really good angle. I love Hangman Pidge coming back, and I think it's a great direction for both these guys. Now that we have MJF as champion, it gives them a really good feud that they can really get their teeth into outside of the title picture. Next, we had Bryan Danielson defeating Dax Harwood. Now, this was a great match. This was a bit of an internet dream match. The only criticism I would give it is it was just that. There was no storyline, no progression for either guy. It was just a throwaway match that was really good because of the people involved, but it's not really something we're probably going to remember in a couple of weeks or really want to look back on. It was just a great match for the sake of having a great match on TV. But then backstage, we had Ricky Starks confusing us all by saying that he is entering himself in the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal next week. He wants to take MJF's diamond ring from him, which is great, but Ricky Starks already has a title shot at Winter is Coming in a couple of weeks, so it's a bit confusing as to whether or not he would earn another title shot if he wins the diamond ring, and why he wants two. Does he think he won't succeed in the first one? I don't know. It caused a lot of confusion. We then saw Hangman Page being escorted from the building, and then Jon Moxley ran out and attacked him again. We had another wild brawl. Page chucked Moxley into the garage door. It was really, really good to see this continuing like the aftermath of what we saw at the beginning of the show. I thought it was pretty cool. Then we had TNT and Ring of Honor TV champion Samoa Joe defeating AR Fox, who had just signed to AEW, getting his All Elite graphic. This was a good match, but for me the TNT title has seemed really lost in recent weeks, like during Wardlow's run, and then the Ring of Honor TV title, you would be forgiven for forgetting that even existed. So I'm not sure if giving both belts to Samoa Joe is really a great solution to this. I would say just merge these belts. Like, no matter what we're doing with Ring of Honor, just merge these belts and really get the focus back on that TNT championship as one of the main championships in AEW. And post-match, we saw Wardlow tell Joe that he is coming for the belts. Next, we had like the real main event of the show, as MJF spoke for the first time as champion. I thought this was a good promo, but at the same time, the way I feel about the MJF character now, I kind of wish that we didn't have to do all this stuff. I think it's really something that started at that LA Dynamite where he did that basically work shoot promo about his contract. All the MJF stuff that we've seen recently, where the huge tease of a face turn, it's all been like really convoluted, and I wish we could just forget all that and get back to the basics of this like amazing heel character. I do think that he did a great job at explaining things. It's probably the most boring promo he's ever done, but I think that was by design. He didn't want to risk getting any kind of pops by the crowd who do just want to cheer him. William Regal was there too, and he explained how they put together their plan that they enacted at Full Gear. It was over email, of course, that has been their story. Then MJF unveiled the Triple B, the big Burberry belt. This made me laugh. It doesn't, I always feel with MJF, you know, he's so like synonymous with the Burberry, and I kind of wonder like how much he knows about maybe certain feelings towards Burberry, especially in the UK. I'll just say like this, I would not be wearing Burberry for real. But you know, the Burberry belt, it was okay looking, and if anyone's gonna have like a personalized championship, it might as well be him, because I feel like it's such a heel thing to do, even though we saw it in WWE with like Steve Austin and The Rock, and more recently when Daniel Bryan had that Eco belt. His promo had a lot of Triple H references, the Bidding War of 2024 references, shout out to Nick Khan. But then in the shock of all shockers, MJF attacked William Regal with the brass knucks. Commentary sold this like this was the absolute end for Regal, and as I said with the news at the top of the show, it looks like it is, and I think it was a good way to write off the character so he can go back where he belongs, which is with WWE. Next, Ricky Starks defeated Ari Daivari. This was a quick win for Ricky, not much to say about this. We also had Willow Nightingale defeating Anna JAS. Willow is such a natural babyface who really gets the crowd behind her. Anna and Ty, I just think are two of the most unlikable characters that AEW has, and they just kind of lack in a lot of areas, and I would love to see AEW fully get behind someone like Willow, who's not just like very talented in ring, but as I say, like the crowd just love her. But the big story here was the return of Ruby Soho. She had her nose broken by Ty Mello, and she got her revenge by hitting her with the Destination Unknown on the ramp. So welcome back, Ruby Soho. Then the most bizarre segment of the show came as Jade Cargill had a championship celebration. Firstly, let me say, Jade looked absolutely incredible here. This might be the best anyone has ever looked on Dynamite. Like 10 out of 10. She looked $1 million. But let's get to the segment. We had Jade talking herself up as usual, and she was interrupted by a video message from Bow Wow. Bow Wow told Jade that he is now done touring and he would see her soon. So WTF, like let's think about this. To recap, in October, Bow Wow effectively asked Jade out on a date. She said no. Then about a month later, she confronted him at a show. So she really doesn't want to date Bow Wow, and now he's decided he's gonna stalk her. I don't quite understand, but Jade, I wish they had something worthy of Jade, and a feud with Bow Wow that is weird and like verging on creepy, like really just isn't it. I don't know what they're gonna do here, whether it's gonna be some kind of mixed tag, but yeah, this one just doesn't feel right. Finally, we had the Elite, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, taking on the Trios champions, the Death Triangle, Penta, Phoenix and Pac in the third match of their best of 7 series. This was won by the Elite, giving them their first win in the series and making it 2-1 to Death Triangle. They tried to distinguish this from the other matches we've seen with them before by having a lot of brawling before the bell rang, and then the hammer was once again came into play, but it ended up being really the downfall of Death Triangle in this match as they tried to rely on it too much. It was a good match. It was nowhere near as good, I think, as the previous two they've had. The one in Dynamite the week before that I was at live, I thought was excellent, but that was also a lot to do with the atmosphere in Chicago. I do wonder how these guys are going to really keep interest for 7 matches, especially when these two teams, they do so many, they do such a choreographed style that it can get, really samey, but still, I thought it was a very good match. And for next week's Dynamite, we have announced so far Samoa Joe is going to be challenged by Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. We have the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. We have Tony Schiavone interviewing Jimmy Hitter. We have Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta versus the Ring of Honor Pure Champion Daniel Garcia and Hat Lover Jake Hager. Then we have the Acclaimed versus FTR for the World Tag Team Championship. Wow, that seems to have just kind of come out of nowhere, even though it's the match we've all been waiting for. And then we have Jade Cargill and her baddies taking on Madison Rayne, Sky Blue, and Kiera Hogan. We're also going to have a promo from Moxley, and we're going to hear from MJF. And I'm going to give my biggest fan of the night to Hangman Page's return. Welcome back, Hangman. I thought it was done in a very exciting way. It's always nice. There's something that makes AEW feel more like AEW when the handsome cowboy is back on screen. So welcome back, Hangman Page. And before I go, once again, make sure to give me a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, which are all at Stephanie M. Chase. Also, check out my OnlyFans and merch linked below. Check out my Patreon as well as for how you can support this channel. And of course, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.